All right, so when we're talking law enforcement grants, we're going to talk enforcement and activity hours. So, and when you're looking, is that in there? So so right here, when you go back one more. So see all these, one more, Scarlett, I'm sorry. So see the personnel services details, that's not you. That's not law enforcement, okay? That is only for law enforcement is the enforcement and activity hours. Remember that fancy pointer? Right here, the enforcement and activity hours. Okay? So in enforcement and activity hours, we pay straight time only. It's your hourly rate. So what it would be is your resource, like resource one, it would say resource one makes $23.95 an hour. And then how many hours are they going to work? If it's an HCE, obviously enforcement grant, that is typically 480 hours per resource. That's 2 hours a week for 48 weeks. Yep, there's 52 weeks, but there's going to be 4 weeks. Y'all ain't going to do nothing, I know. We try to help you out. We're not saying, hey, you didn't make your money, you didn't spend all your money. So we just do the 48 weeks. So 10 hours a week for each of the resources. So you'd add all that up. If you're a heat team, then it would be more hours than that. It'd be somewhere around 1950, 2000, something like that, depending upon it. And heat teams are generally either 2 or 3 person teams, depending on your county and depending on what your problem is.
Does it make a difference in rank if the team is?
Yes, nothing lieutenant, it's all got to be sergeant or below. Okay. Lieutenants, we don't, our policy specifically says no lieutenant. Hey, y'all making too much money. You gotta keep down in that sergeant level, you know, they making $62 an hour down there in Atlanta. So, yes, sir, you're exactly right. Thank you for that. Any questions about enforcement or activity hours? This is only for law enforcement.
We have like a step program. We obviously, by the time we're putting this in, we're not going to identify exactly who the members of the team will be. So some are step 2, some are step 3. So would we err on the side of caution and go for the step 3 for the corporals, or?
I would probably, you know, nothing else gets you a good average of them.
Okay.
Because then if you're awarded the grant and you start doing it, then we're going to pay actual hours. So whatever they're making October 1st is what we pay. Because you'll have to give us, for each of the pay periods, you'll have to include on the claim their pay stub. So we're going to verify that. You know, if you say it's $23.68 an hour, we want to see it on the pay stub that it's $23.68 an hour. Sometimes it happens very rarely, so I'll tell you. But sometimes you'll run out of money. But most of the time, we see agencies not run out of money. Because if you put in for that in February, but city council says, hey, y'all do a great job, in July we're going to give you a raise, then that's the money we're going to pay. I actually had a grantee last week, and said, hey, well, that's the price that you said y'all pay us. No, that's the number that y'all told us you made. We're going to pay you, we're going to reimburse you. Let me back up. We're going to reimburse you actual salary that you're making now. Only straight salary. No overtime, no special pay, or anything like that. Does that make sense? Thank you for the question. Anybody else have any other questions in this area? Before I give it, Scott. Yes, sir.
You said EEs have to be 2 men or 3 men?
I'm sorry?
For the E, you said it has to be 2 or 3 men?
He is 2 or 3. Yes. Scarlett?
Do you want to cover that?
I'm sorry. All right. Only project hours can be claimed. So if you're going to, you've got to be working the project for us to reimburse you the money. You've got to be turning on them blue lights. you've got to be doing a valid educational event. And guess what? Law enforcement's three-pronged approach too. It's not only the enforcement, but it's also education. Every law enforcement grant that we put out, that we do, has an educational component to it. Heat teams have to do an educational event every month, a meaningful educational event. An HPE grant, generally, we ask them to do one a quarter. Okay? We're going to ask you to do a seatbelt survey, 2 of them, one at the beginning and one at the end. Now, back to them seatbelts again, you know, here we go. So we want to know if you're making a difference. Every law enforcement grant will have a seatbelt objective in it. You've got to make seatbelt contacts. Okay? Go back to what Kelly was talking about and being smart. We won't be saying, hey, you got to make 635 seatbelt contacts a month. That's not attainable, right? It ain't smart for me to tell you that. You ain't going to do it. So we want to make them attainable. You know, is it 25, 30 a month? You know, whatever. We'll work with y'all to look at your data and look at the size of your jurisdiction, the size of your agency, and make a good suggestion of what it can be. At the end, we want everybody to be happy. If you do not meet your milestone, we fail. Because most of it, well, sometimes we fail. Sometimes you just let it do your job. And believe me, y'all know, I'll just call you out. Here's some things that are not allowed. Court time. Don't make any sense. Law enforcement, but the federal government will not pay you to go to court. We'll pay you to catch them, we'll pay you to clean them, but not to fry them. We do not pay any overtime. Everything is straight time grants. We'll pay you for any traffic safety related training. We'll pay you for radar, LiDAR, DREs, FFSTs, things like that. But we can't pay for SWAT training. Can't pay for firearms training. We can't pay for the governor's initiative training. That's all on your thing, on your dime. Your 20 hours, unless it's traffic related, we can't do it. Can't pay for your annual in-service training. The department says you got to do all this. Hours not used directly for project activity are not allowed. Okay? We ask you to do an educational event. That's hours you can do on a project. We're going to give you hours. Okay? You're going to go do a child passenger seat deal with Kelly's folks. We love that. We love working together. We'll pay you to go. Okay? You just got to turn in documentation to Kelly and okay?